Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? What's good? What's good, everybody? How y'all doing today? Okay, let's wait for everybody to come on in here. Let's give everybody a chance to come in here. I got a lot that I want to cover today. Thank you guys for hitting the like button when you come in. I appreciate that. Hey, Aiden, how you doing? Legendary Hoops, how you doing? Welcome in, guys. So we got a lot of stuff I want to cover today. A lot of stuff I want to cover today. So make sure when you come in, guys, make sure you do me a favor as you come in. Make sure you hit the like button, please. Make sure you hit the like button so the notifications go out. Make sure you go ahead and do that. Thank you so much. How you got? And also check in and let me know where you're coming from. Let me know where you guys are coming from. We got a lot of stuff that we want to cover today. We got a lot of stuff. So let's give everybody a few minutes to get in here. I'm going to be talking about the Lakers. I'm going to be talking about the Clippers. I'm going to be talking about the game tonight. I'm going to be talking about the Western Conference standings. I got a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. Legendary Hoops, what's good from Canada? North Carolina, what's good? Nathaniel, what it do? Welcome in. VA, what's good? VA, welcome in. Make sure you guys hit the likes as you come in. Make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Let's give everybody some time to get on in here. It's just time to be active. Yeah, Keon, what's good? How you doing, man? Make sure you guys come on in. Make sure you guys come in. Make sure we get enough people in here before we start. I got a lot of stuff that I want to cover today. Hey, Jesse, what's good? How you doing? Make sure you say what's up to Marco. He's also in here. Juan Martinez, what's good from California? Okay, California. We got California. LeBron said that he will never be 100%. I never saw that, but I'm going to be talking about that Lakers game, so don't worry. I got a lot coming. I got a lot happening tonight. How y'all doing? Let's make sure we get enough people in here. Let's give everybody some time. I know it's Saturday. I know you guys are probably enjoying yourselves, but I'm sure some of you guys are going to be a part of this live. Yes, the Clippers have the best chance to defy the haters. Okay, I see the real Jay Stone. How y'all doing? Okay, we got about 30 people in here. Let's give it a little bit more time. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you come in so we get more notifications out. Let's give everybody like a few more minutes. And also check in when you come in. Let us know where you're coming from. Let me just wait for more people to get up in here. Let's see what else you got. How you guys? Okay, somebody's talking about Paul George right now. I'm not sure why you're saying that, but it's cool. I'm going to try to answer as many of your questions. Have you heard Max Pachinta? You heard? Sorry, yes, I heard. Yeah, Max just asked a question if I heard the new Jay-Z and Nas song. So while we wait for people to come in here, make sure you guys hit the like. So almost at 40 people. Let me answer his question. Yes, I heard the new Jay-Z and Nas song on DJ Khaled. I heard it. Hove was, I think Nas's verse is incredible, but Jay-Z has some double, triple entendres that he dropped, especially with that line about the bees and talking about Beyonce and his billions. It was hard. It was really, really hard. Amo from Ghana, how you doing? He said already hating on PG. Hey, that's to be expected. Hey, make sure you guys hit the like button, guys. The likes are pretty low. Make sure you keep the likes. We got to keep the likes about 50% of the views. So make sure you guys hit the like button so we get started. Hey, Tori, what's good? How you doing? I'm actually a little bit anxious about PG, but I trust him. That's Franco. What's good from Boston? JBJ80. Welcome in, Charles. You seen what happened with? Yeah, I saw Tatum. What's his name? Jason Tatum went off last night. Robin from Indonesia. Wow, welcome in. What time is it out there? Much love from Inglewood. Welcome in. Let's give it about one more minute. Let's give it about one. Grindo. Paul George has underperformed in the playoffs more times than not. We won't win anything as long as he's our second option, bro. For real. First of all, thanks for the super chat. And you just got to have faith in him. Because it's not like as if the Clippers can get rid of him right now. You know, it's not like as if they can trade him away. So you just got to have faith in him. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button. We're almost at 50 people, and then we'll get started. Let's give it about 30 more seconds before we get started. I got a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff I want to cover today, guys. So you guys don't want to miss out on this live. We figured we'd do this before the game tonight. So we give you guys a few hours to catch up to the game. What do you think about the trade? What if we trade PG for Tatum? It's about, I don't even think Boston would entertain that. Tatum is younger, has more upside. I don't think he will entertain that. It's not. I have faith in PG on Game 7. Okay, let me see what else you guys are saying. Let's give it about 20 more seconds, and we'll get going. Make sure you guys hit the likes before we get started. As I said, I got a lot of stuff I want to cover. A lot of stuff. The Lakers lost to the Kings. This is Marion is cracking up. I'm going to start off talking about the Lakers. Don't worry about that. Okay, let's give it 10 more seconds. Also, guys, so before we start, again, if you guys want to make sure your comments are read, make sure you go ahead and click that join button to join the channel to ensure that your comments are read. iCard, thanks for that. I really thought the Lakers would win that game. Yeah, I was surprised. I actually watched that game. I stayed up pretty late to watch that game. So I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about with that. So let's just wait a little bit longer and we'll get started. Okay, let's give it about 5 to 10 more seconds. AD been playing extremely timid. Yep, I'm going to get to AD in a minute. People already hating on PG. He's going to go off. Just watch. Yeah, I know, man. It's part of the – I think Paul George is kind of expecting that. This is going to be a big playoffs for Paul George. Okay, so we got about 40, 50 people in here. So make sure you keep telling the new people when they come in and hit the like button. We waited about 5-6 minutes when they come in, so more notifications go out. So let me get started. I got a lot of stuff I want to cover today, guys. So let's just get started right now. And then if you have any questions, make sure you leave your questions in the comment section. I'll do my best to try to answer as many. And also, if you want to join the channel, make sure you join the channel to get your membership badge. Just click the $ and join is also next to the subscribe button. So let me get into this anyway. Let's start. Thank you guys for hitting the likes and let's keep it up. So let's start. So I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about right now. Okay, let's get serious. First of all, I want to talk about the return of LeBron James yesterday. Okay, because that news of LeBron James coming back yesterday, that news dropped fairly late in the evening. I think the Lakers, they knew LeBron was going to come back. They knew this already. I think they knew this probably days before, but I think he wanted to surprise everybody so people wouldn't know that he was coming back. I think that's what happened because first it was he went from being a maybe to, a game. He went from being out to a game time decision. And then all of a sudden he started the game. So when I tuned in, I saw that LeBron had started the game, right? And remember, guys, LeBron had missed about 20 games. Okay, before he went down, LeBron had missed about 20 games. So coming back last night was really important because I think it's the most amount of time he's missed at one time in his entire career, if I'm not mistaken. So he missed a lot of games, right? And we know what had been happening with the Lakers since LeBron has been out, or at least since Anthony Davis returned. Okay, the Lakers, before LeBron returned last night, over their last 4 games, they were 1-3. The Lakers had only won 1 game and lost 3 games with the return of Anthony Davis. Now, y'all remember, I think we did a live earlier. I think it was an episode that we did on the show. We spoke about it's not so much of a big deal that the Lakers lost, but I remember saying, given the fact that they lost to the Dallas Mavericks twice, those were losses that they should have tried to avoid because the Mavs are right next to them in the playoff seeding. And as I said before, if the playoffs were to end today and the Lakers and the Mavs have an identical record and the Lakers and the Mavs at the number 5 spot and the Lakers in the number 4, guess what? I think the Mavs are going to move up because they already have the season series. They already won the season series. So they needed to get at least one of those wins off the Mavs and they didn't. Okay. I remember that happening. Let me see what you guys are saying. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button, guys. Make sure you guys keep hitting that like button so we get the notifications out. Okay, so you guys got a lot to say. Let me continue here with what I'm saying. So it was really important. Now, let me talk about Anthony Davis because some people have gotten upset with me for my stance on Anthony Davis. Okay, I've always said Anthony Davis is one of the top 10 players in the NBA. I always thought this. But what happened last year in the playoffs was we had a major recency bias. Y'all remember, because in the playoffs, the way Anthony Davis performed, he hit that game-winning shot against the Denver Nuggets. I think it was in game 2. They won the NBA Finals. He played very well. Shannon Sharp came out on TV. Now, I don't know if he was being hyperbolic, but he said, oh, baby go. AD is the second best player in the world. And a lot of people believe that, right? AD's value got inflated because they felt like, oh, well, look how well he's playing. It's because of him. Not knowing that, really, AD, yes, he did a lot. Yes, I thought he should have won the Defensive Player of the Year last year. I thought so. Some people even felt like he had a better regular season than LeBron James. No problem. And he possibly did, right? If you look at his all-around performance, but there's no way people are going to give him the nod over LeBron. That's just one of the things that happens when you play with LeBron, and you got to deal with it. Kawhi Leonard saw that and said, there's no way in hell I'm going to be a part of this. Kawhi Leonard could have gone to the Lakers. They could have gone to the finals. He could have put up better numbers than LeBron. No way in hell they're going to give him the finals MVP over LeBron. It wasn't going to happen, right? So this is just a byproduct of playing with LeBron James. So people were feeling like Anthony Davis was this great. This is this. Now, he's a great player, but I never thought AD was a top 5 player in the NBA, right? Some people say, well, how can you say that? Well, first of all, let's look at it. Who are the top 5 players in the NBA? In my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, in any order, you got LeBron James. Most people are not going to disagree with that. You got Kevin Durant. Most people are not going to disagree with that. You got Kawhi Leonard. Then you got Stephen Curry. People forgot about Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is up there. And then, of course, you got James Harden, who I would put ahead of Anthony Davis. And I'll put, or you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? So AD could be the number 6 and number 7, depending on these guys. But he's definitely not better than Stephen Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James, in my opinion. Right? So LeBron has been out. The Lakers have been slipping. Anthony Davis comes back. And let me tell you guys his numbers in his return with the Lakers. Now, let me give you guys Anthony Davis's numbers this season. Okay. At least in his return. In the 5 games that Anthony Davis is playing since his return, Anthony Davis is averaging 17.4 points per game. He's shooting 41% from the field. 41% as a power forward that's 6'9", 6'10", 41%. He's shooting 20% from the 3. He's shooting 71% from the free throw line. He's getting you 6 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 2 blocks per game. Let's just call it what it is. Those numbers are just not good enough. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button, guys. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button so we get the notifications. Those numbers are just not good enough. You can't be the second best player in the world or a top 5 player in the world and you put up those type of numbers. Now, some people may say, oh, he was injured. Fine. But what about Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant came back. He came off the bench and dropped 30 points. Just the other night, he dropped 42. What are we talking about? So there are levels to this. And I think people need to see it. He's not on these dudes. There are levels to it. It doesn't mean he's a great player. It just means that those dudes are better. It's not no hate. It just means that those dudes are better. Now, LeBron comes back last night. Okay. I was watching that game. And also, to be fair, Andre Drummond has been solid for the Lakers. To be fair to him, he's been solid. If you look at Andre Drummond's numbers right now this season, at least for the Lakers, he's averaging 12 points per game, which is to be expected. He's shooting 53% from the field. Great. 65% from the free throw line, which is actually the best he's shot in his career. He's been shooting the best from the free throw line with the Lakers. He's getting you 10 rebounds, 10.2 rebounds, and 1 block and 1.4 steals. Those are great numbers, right? Those are great numbers. Certainly better numbers than Marc Gasol was putting up for the Lakers. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button. We're almost at 100 people. Certainly better numbers than Marc Gasol was putting up for the Lakers. So I'm not going to fault Andre Drummond at all. I'm not going to fault him. Let's just be real. They're not going to blame the championship if the Lakers don't make it to the finals, or if they don't make it, they don't win the champ. We're not going to blame it on Andre Drummond when we got AD and LeBron sitting there. We're not going to do that to him because nobody accused Andre Drummond of being a superstar. The only person that felt Andre Drummond was this like world beater, okay, that thought he was like Nikola Jokic, was Shannon Sharp, calling him Andre Kareem or whatever it is, like whatever he was calling him. Those dudes was drinking the Kool-Aid. And now you're seeing he's a very, very good player, but he's not like the way they were trying to make him seem. Now, a lot of that is hype. So I'm not going to put anything on Andre Drummond. He's coming in there. He's doing his job. He's never been on a team like the Los Angeles Lakers. He's never been in this position. So nobody's going to hold that against him. I'm not going to do that, to be quite honest with you. We're not going to scapegoat him. Not when you got AD and these dudes out there. Nobody's going to do that to him. And I don't think it's fair. They're not going to scapegoat him like they tried to do last year with Danny Green in the playoffs. You had Snoop Dogg sending, like, come on. These are role players. So we're not going to do that to him. So let me continue. I got a lot of stuff. I see you guys are leaving a lot of your comments. Let me just get some of my thoughts out here, and then I'll get to some of your comments. Please make sure you keep leaving your comments. If I don't see your comment, make sure you join the channel so I can see your comment, because I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about right here. So Andre Drummond has been solid, right? He's definitely helped their defense. You're getting them 10 rebounds a game. You're helping their defense, right? And LeBron returned yesterday. He started and he played 31 minutes. Now, let me tell you guys LeBron's numbers from last night, okay? LeBron James, he shot 50% from the field. He scored 16 points. He played 31 minutes. He shot 20% from the three. He made 1 out of his 5 threes. He shot, 60% from the free throw line, but he got you 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And he had 5 turnovers, but guess what? He was a little bit rusty, and he was playing with the new player in Andre Drummond. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty of this, okay? Let's talk about what I noticed with the Lakers yesterday. Number one, the Lakers are a very, very big team. If we're talking about size, the Lakers have a lot of size on their team. Okay, if I look at some of their bigs right now, Marc Gasol, I think is 7. He's a 7-footer. Anthony Davis is 6'10". Andre Drummond is 6'10". LeBron is 6'9". I think Kyle Kuzma is 6'8", 6'9". They're a very, very, very big team. So Rob Pelinka and these guys have figured out a way to put together another very tall team, because last year they were the biggest team in the NBA in the playoffs. They were the biggest team. They were the biggest team in the playoffs. If you look at Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, they were the biggest team in the league, and they really showed their size when they played against the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. They couldn't compete with that much. They just threw waves and waves and waves of length at those dudes. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button, guys. I see you guys are coming in with your comments. I got a lot of stuff I want to discuss here. So I saw that they still have a lot of size. I also saw, forget the fact that De'Aaron Fox didn't play. They're still an NBA team. I also saw that the Lakers are still very good defensively. Like, there wasn't a drop off. They're a very good defensive team. However, and I also noticed early and often in that game, they were force feeding Andre Drummond. If any of you guys watched that game, the Lakers were force feeding DeAndre, kind of similarly to the way sometimes the Clippers do with Ivica Zubac. Now, I don't know if they were doing that to get him going. I don't know if I don't know the philosophy behind what Frank Vogel and these guys were doing, but that's what was happening last night, right? That's what was happening last night. That's what I saw. Now, let's talk about some of the things I did notice. Okay, we're doing this live on Saturday. So if y'all hear this on Monday, nobody's going to come to me and say, oh, Skip Bayless said this or Stephen A. Smith said this. I'm saying this now. Okay, this is the first issue I noticed with the Lakers. I noticed that they had some serious spacing issues. Make sure you guys keep hitting the likes, guys, so we get the notifications out. So we get this thing to 150 people. I noticed that they had some serious spacing issues yesterday. If you watch that game, okay, if you guys watched that game yesterday, the Lakers had no spacing on the floor. Why? Because you have Andre Drummond, you have LeBron James, you have Dennis Schroeder, I think you have KCP, and you have Anthony Davis. How many of these guys stretch the floor? Really stretch the floor? You got KCP, you got Dennis Schroeder, and that's really about it. And in some cases, Anthony Davis. But Anthony Davis is not playing well right now. So it's not like as if he's playing very, very well. Okay, somebody just corrected me. Kyle Kuzma is 6'10". I didn't even know that. Then that's very, very tall, right? I didn't even know that. So the Lakers were having some issues with spacing yesterday. And if anybody who's been following LeBron James knows, I've said this on other lives and I'm going to say it again. LeBron likes a few things when he plays, especially when he's trying to win championships. He likes to play with veteran players. That's number one. And he likes to play with shooters and players that can stretch the floor. When he doesn't have that on the court, he doesn't have a lot of space to operate from. If you watch the game, the paint was packed. It was always congested, especially with their twin towers that they were running with Andre and what's his name and what's his name, Anthony Davis, right? So that was one of the issues I noticed watching that game, that they had a lot of issues with spacing, which created problems for the Lakers to generate good looks from the three. Yesterday, the Lakers attempted, I believe it was 28 3-pointers. Y'all know how many 3-pointers they made yesterday? 7. They made 7 3-pointers. Now that's a byproduct, number one, of bad spacing, and number two, not having enough good enough 3-point shooters on your roster. This is just the reality. The Lakers don't make a lot of threes per game to begin with. If you look at the Clippers, for example, the Clippers are making 14.5 3-pointers per game. They're making twice the amount of threes. If you look at the Lakers starting 5 and you look at the Clippers starting 5, the Clippers have a more versatile starting 5. And I'm not sure what position LeBron plays yet. I'm not sure. I don't know if he plays point. I don't know yet. If you look at the Lakers, they have LeBron, Dennis Schroeder, Anthony Davis, KCP, and Drummond, right? That's their starting 5. Basically, a lot of back-to-the-basket type of guys. LeBron is more of a slasher than a shooter. He's never been a great perimeter shooter. However, over his career, he's improved a lot as a shooter, especially from the 3. He's improved, to be fair. Make sure you guys keep hitting the likes, guys. We're almost at 150 people. Make sure you guys keep the likes up. Now, if you notice that, if you look at the Clippers, on the other hand, they have Patrick Beverley, for example, who's a wash with Dennis Schroeder. He's a wash, right? They're both kind of 6'1" point guards that play defense, that can stretch the floor, knock down threes. Then you have Paul George, who is shooting over 40% from the 3 this season, right? And he's a two-way player. Then you got Kawhi, who's shooting about 40% from the 3, who's a two-way player. Then you got Marcus Morris Sr., who's a 6'10" power forward, who's shooting close to 45%, 44% from the 3. Then you got Serge Ibaka, who, when he starts, is shooting in the mid-30s from the 3. And he's a big. But the Clippers have more spacing in their lineup, which allows them to generate easier looks. And Serge does not pack the paint. So after watching that game yesterday, I think the Lakers were trying to understand, how was LeBron going to play with Andre Drummond? Because let me tell you this. This is what I think. I think if LeBron understands that this dude is screwing up the spacing issues, don't be surprised if Andre Drummond doesn't start some of these games. Don't be surprised at that, because LeBron is trying to look for the best possible lineup to win series. He's not really caught up in, this guy's here. LeBron wants to win. And if it means you're coming off the bench, you're coming off the bench. But LeBron needs spacing. It's actually hurting his playmaking when he has no shooters on the floor. Andre doesn't stretch the floor. KCP does. Dennis does. But then when you swing the ball and LeBron becomes open, is he a great knockdown 3-point shooter? He's average, right? So that's something that the Lakers are going to need to work on, in my opinion. Now, is it time to hit the panic button? No, it's absolutely not time to hit the panic button. However, I do think that the Lakers need to work on their lineup. So I've got that out. Let me see what you guys have been saying. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button. We're almost at 150 people. Let me go through some of your comments here. Let me see what you guys are saying. Let me see what you does Boogie help the Clippers match with the Lakers size? Yes, he does. I believe so. Let me see. Kuzma is surprisingly tall. Yes, I see that. LeBron claimed that he feels like he will never be 100% again after his career. I don't know when he said that. You're the second person that said that. This is Javier's comment. I don't know if he said that after the game. I don't know what it is. But guys, LeBron is 36 years old, right? Listen. People are talking about Paul George, okay? And Paul George has not been to the finals and won a championship. But people need to start looking in the direction of Anthony Davis, because there's no way you can have a player of that caliber. LeBron is 36 years old, and they're expecting this much from him. AD needs to pick up the slack. He needs to pick up the slack. I'm sorry. He's too good of a player. Make sure you guys keep hitting the likes. Let's see what else you guys got. Let me see what else you guys got. There's no such thing as flipping the script. Okay. Let me see what else you guys are saying. LeBron is more complete player. Okay, I'm not sure what you guys are saying. Let me see what else. Okay, LeBron can't win a championship while LA investigating. Okay, I don't know what that means, Troy. Paul George is a choker. I guess that's if that's how you feel. AD is better than PG. He's very talented, but they're different type of players. Shooter is way better than Patrick Beverly. I don't know what you mean by way better, but that's your opinion. No problem. That's what you feel. No problem. That's fine with me. Anyway, let me get back to that. So I think I've talked about the Lakers. Now let's talk about the Clippers. Okay. And why I said in the video, is this a golden opportunity, right? Because this presents an opportunity for the Clippers, because the Lakers have only won 30% of their games over the last 10 games that they've been playing. They're 3-7. The Clippers, on the other hand, can take advantage of that. Now let's talk about the Clippers, and let's start off with Serge Ibaka. From listening to Tyronn Lue, I listened to what he said yesterday after one of the practices. According to Tyronn Lue, he said, when they asked about Serge Ibaka and his progression as far as coming back on the court, they asked him, and he said Serge is doing 5-on-5 practices. He's doing 5-on-5 scrimmages right now. So Serge is actually out there playing. If you look at some of the stuff that the team has been releasing on social media, he's actually been practicing. He looks like he's back in the training facilities with the Clippers. And I think Serge Ibaka is going to return. So I think Serge is definitely going to make his return. So that's the first bright spot for them. Secondly, let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. Okay, Kawhi Leonard, they said, if y'all remember, from the moment he was taken out, they said they were going to evaluate him. They were going to use 7 to 10 days to evaluate Kawhi Leonard. Personally, I think he may come back tonight. Personally, if he doesn't come back tonight, I think he'll be ready for the next game. But I think he can play tonight, right? I wouldn't be surprised if if the Clippers play him. But obviously, the coaches and all these guys, they do a pregame kind of interview with the press. So he may release some information. So I don't know yet. We have to wait and see about that. Make sure you guys keep hitting the like button, guys. The like's a bit low. Let's make sure you hit the like button so we get to 200 people. So that's the first thing with him, right? Let's talk about Yogi Ferrell. Y'all remember we were one of the channels that broke the news on on Yogi Ferrell, right? Now, Yogi Ferrell has been signed. I think they signed him for a multiple year contract, if I'm not sure, right? Let me just check. But I think the Clippers, let me just check here for a second. I think the Clippers signed him, Yogi Ferrell Clippers. I think they signed him to a multi-year deal. Yogi Ferrell, yeah, they signed him. Clippers signed Yogi Ferrell to a multi-year deal. Okay. The Clippers signed this guy. I'm not sure how many years they signed him for. It's not really saying it here. But what it's saying is that they signed him to a multi-year deal. Now, this can mean one of two things for the Clippers fans. Number one, it could mean that Patrick Beverly, the Clippers are not so sure about him moving forward. Because I don't see why you would sign Yogi Ferrell, who's an undersized point guard, sign him to a multi-year deal while you still have Patrick Beverly and Rajon Rondo and Reggie Jackson. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe the other reason they signed him is that maybe he may be an insurance policy, because what if Patrick Beverly comes back and he gets injured again? Because it can very well happen again, because it's happened before. He was just off for a number of games and he came back, played 1 or 2 games. I think he played against the Jazz and he played against the Suns, if I'm not mistaken. Played against the Suns, came out of that game after being off for so many games, and they found out he had a fractured hand. So anything can happen with Patrick Beverly, and we don't know. But I thought it was pretty interesting that the Clippers went out there and decided to go sign this guy. That was pretty surprising to me. This is just my thoughts on it. I thought it was pretty surprising to me, but I don't know what the situation is with Patrick Beverly. Now, let's talk about the Clippers' remaining schedule. I'm going to come back to the Lakers, and I'm going to talk about the Western Conference. Again, if you guys left a question that I did not answer, make sure you guys go ahead and click the join button to join the channel so I can see your comments, so I can get back to this here, because I got a lot of stuff that I want to talk about here. So let's talk about the Clippers' remaining schedule. So the Clippers, they currently have 8 games left in the season. For those of you guys that are unaware, they have 8 games left, including tonight's game. Okay, so those 8 games include the game that they have against the Denver tonight. Of those 8 games, they're going to be playing against 3 playoff teams. Okay, they're going to play against the Denver Nuggets, they're going to play against the Los Angeles Lakers, and they're going to play against the New York Knicks. Okay, so excuse me here. The Clippers are going to play some decent teams. The rest of those other teams, they have 5 teams that they have the Oklahoma City Thunder and these other teams. I think they have the Hornets that are not so tough, but they have 3 serious opponents. Number 1, number 2, those 2 of those 3 teams are in their same conference. Number 3, the game that they're going to be playing against the Denver Nuggets is going to decide seeding, because the Clippers and the Lakers and the Nuggets have identical records right now. If I look at the Western Conference standings right now, I had it open here. So currently in the West, this is how it shakes out. You got the Suns, the Jazz who are 5-5 over their last 10, by the way. The Jazz, it's incredible that they lost the number 1 seed. Then you have the Clippers, you have the Nuggets. Now the Clippers are 43-21, the Nuggets are 42-21. Then you have the Lakers who are 36-27, and the Mavs who are 35-27. Y'all remember, I said that the Lakers should not have dropped 2 games to the Mavs. They needed at least 1, and they lost 2. So keep that in mind, because those 2 teams are sitting right next to each other. Now, let's talk about the Lakers, because the Lakers have a very tough schedule to finish off the season. A very tough schedule. Okay. LeBron just came back. I think people don't understand what type of situation the Lakers are in right now, or potentially. They're in very, very, very murky waters right now. Let me tell you guys the remaining schedule of for the Lakers. Okay. Listen to this. This is how the Lakers are closing their season. They're going to play, the Nuggets. That's their next opponent. Then they play the Clippers. Then they play the Blazers. Then they play the Knicks. Then they play the Suns. Then they play the Knicks. All of these teams are in a row. It's not like as if they're spaced out in between. These are 5 legitimate playoff teams that the Lakers are going to have to play in a row. Bearing in mind, Anthony Davis has only been back for 5 games. He's not playing well. LeBron is back after missing 20 games, and he has to find out how he's going to make that whole thing with their chemistry work. And then you got to play these teams. Now, some people may say, but so what? It doesn't really matter. Well, it matters a lot, because number 1 is going to put the pressure on LeBron to figure out the chemistry, because he's the only one on that roster I trust. LeBron is the only person I trust on that roster, to be quite honest with you. Number 2, depending on how they play, the Lakers can risk falling into the play-in tournament. Now, obviously, if the Lakers fell into the play-in tournament, they would be the best team of any team in the play-in tournament, and I think they can beat any team that they match up against in the play-in tournament. However, you want to avoid that type of situation, because in a one-and-done type of thing, in a college basketball type of thing, NFL type of thing, you don't want to be in that type of situation. You don't want to take a risk. What if you have a bad night? What if you have a bad game? This happens. This is why teams should try their very best to avoid Game 7s. Look what happened with the Clippers last year. Make sure you guys keep hitting the likes. We're almost at 200 people. I appreciate all of that. I thank you guys for being a part of this, by the way. Really appreciate that. So just make sure you guys keep hitting the likes so we get this thing over to 200 people. So not to say that the Lakers can't beat any of those people, because I believe they can, but you don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk it unless you're supremely confident in your ability. Now, this is not Floyd Mayweather fighting, I think his name is Jake Paul. This ain't that. Right? It's not like as if Floyd can walk up in there and not get a scratch on him. This ain't that. These are NBA teams. It's not like as if this guy, Logan Paul, I think it's Jake Paul, is going to have any, there's virtually no chance he's going to knock out Floyd Mayweather. But these are NBA teams. If you have a bad shooting night, anything can happen. So that's the first thing to pay attention to. So another thing, the Western Conference, guys, is wide open. Thank you for that, Logan Paul. Sorry about that. Logan Paul is wide open. Is wide open right now. Think about this. The Phoenix Suns, as I said, they just captured the number 1 seed just yesterday by beating the Utah Jazz. Now, let me say this. I don't think the Suns are better than the Clippers and the Lakers if they're fully healthy and they're firing on all cylinders. I don't think they're better than them. Call me crazy, but I think I would trust LeBron and AD over Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and I would trust Kawhi Leonard. Hell, if Paul George messes up, I would take Kawhi Leonard over Chris Paul and Devin Booker because I already saw them when they played. When Kawhi played, and the Clippers were halfway healthy, they beat him both times. Now Chris Paul was out there beating his chest like King Kong or whatever it was, and I'm like, you're here beating your chest, and Kawhi's sitting on the bench. And I was just wondering what was going through Kawhi's mind, looking like, yo, look at this dude. What is this dude? He's over here beating his chest like as if I wasn't even playing. So there's that aspect to it. I think the Lakers and Clippers are better than both of those teams, in my opinion. But the Suns are no joke. What if? Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys a question. What if the Suns are able to hold on to the number 1 seed? Hear me out. And somehow, some way, the Lakers end up falling or end up with the number 8 seed, and the Lakers end up matching up with the Suns in round 1, because that can happen. It's not like as if it can't happen. Go look at the standings. A lot of those teams are bunched up together. Then what if the Suns play the Lakers in the first round? The Suns are red hot, and the Lakers are still trying to figure it out. Who do you think will win that series if the Lakers end up matching up with the Suns in round 1? Who do you think wins? Do you think the Suns or the Lakers? Let me know what you guys think about that. Who wins if the Lakers somehow fall to the 8th seed and they meet the Suns? Who do you think wins that series? Phoenix is getting sent home. Lakers and Suns over 4. Okay. Lakers. Yep. Lakers. Exact. I agree with you. Now, some people are saying in 4. I don't know about all of that. No, 4. I don't know about 4. I believe that the Lakers will win, but I don't think the Lakers want to meet the Suns in the first round. This is just my opinion. If they can avoid them, then they should avoid them. But looking at their remaining schedule, it's not going to be a cakewalk, guys. They got a pretty tough they got a pretty tough schedule. So I got a lot more stuff that I want to talk about right now. So let's talk about the Clippers now. If the Clippers lose tonight, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't play, then the Clippers are going to drop to the number 4 seed. So the Clippers need to win too, because if the Clippers drop to the number 4 seed, then the Nuggets move to the number 3, and the Lakers stay the same. Then the Lakers could possibly meet the Clippers in the first round, or the Clippers can meet the Dallas Mavericks again in the first round. And that Dallas team, they have this type of makeup where they have an ability to get some games off the Clippers. I'm not so sure that Dallas is such a great matchup for the Clippers, to be quite honest with you. They somehow, some way, have a problem containing Luka Doncic. Whenever they play against the Mavs, Luka Doncic always seems to go off some way, somehow. They always seem to go off. So I don't think the Clippers would want to meet the Dallas Mavericks. I think the Clippers should try to continue to win as many games as they can. This is just my opinion. That's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is this. I think they need to get back Serge Ibaka and Kawhi Leonard, because I think the Clippers, they can rest their players at the end of the season, but they need to get everybody back on the court for the remaining 8 games. If it's not the 8 games, Serge should play at least 4 games. Kawhi Leonard should play some games. I don't think it's smart at this point to not have your players playing. Now, some people on our channel, they've said that the Clippers need to rest their players. And this is an important point I want to talk about, because I want us to address this thing about rest, because I think a lot of people are making way too much out of this thing about rest. So I want to talk about rest. Let me go through some of your comments real quick before I continue. Make sure you guys keep hitting the likes. We're about 200 people listening. Let me see what else you guys got. Lakers. I want the Jazz versus Suns and Clippers versus Lakers. Jazz versus Suns. Okay. I agree with Jared. Let me see what else. Mavs got one of the best crybabies. Yeah. Luka cries a lot. I noticed that. He complains a lot. It's pronounced Doncic, not Don Kitch. Okay. So thank you for that correction. If they need Serge. Okay. Let me see. Yes. Okay. I don't like the Dallas matchup. Neither do I. Let me see. Omar, thanks for that. The first round is going to be very interesting, and big teams can go home already. Do you do you think? I think what you're saying, do you think that the Clippers can go home if they're not fully healthy? If they play a team like the Lakers, yeah. Listen, anything can happen. Anything can happen because this is what I was saying. The West is loaded. We were talking about this just the other day on Dreamerspro Max. For those of you guys who don't know, Dreamerspro Max is an online sports community. You can talk about basketball, watch, chat live during games. We're going to go live tonight. We're going to be chatting live on Discord tonight. And you can watch original content. And this was one of the things, we're going to link that at the end of this video. So you guys, if you're interested in, you get 7 days of access. We're going to link it at the end of this live. This was one of the things we were talking about. The question was, how does the West compare to the East? Okay. The Western Conference has always been the better conference. Always. It's always been the tougher conference. All the teams in the West are very, 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 very hard to beat. Go look at when Kobe was playing in the West. Look at the teams Kobe had to beat just to get to the finals. You're talking about the San Antonio Spurs, the Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns. They were playing some great. Kobe, I think, has beaten more 50-plus win teams than I think a lot of players out there just to come out of the Western Conference. Let me put it in another way. Of the last 10 championships that have been won in the NBA, 60% of them have been won by teams in the Western Conference. The last teams to win championships from the East Coast are the 2 Miami Heat championships, I think in 2012. Those two, that's 2. Then you have the Cleveland Cavaliers championship with LeBron, and then you got the one with the Toronto Raptors. Western Conference teams won all of the 6. Over the last 20 years, I want you guys to put this into perspective. The Western Conference has produced 14 NBA championships. Of the 20 the 20 available championships, Western Conference teams have won 14 of them. The previous decade, the Lakers won 5. The Spurs, I think, won 5. The Lakers and the Spurs dominated the previous decade. They dominated. Kobe and Shaq and these dudes won 3 in a row. That's 3. Then Duncan got like 4 up in there. Then Kobe and Gasol and these dudes got another 2. They dominated. The Celtics won one of them. The Detroit Pistons won the other one. That was it. And plus the 4 this decade. That was it. The West has always been tough. So to answer his question, anybody can beat anybody in the West. It's not like the East. We're not talking about the East right now. The East over the last 20 years has been a joke compared to the West. Just go look at the records. Let's look at the records right now. I got a lot of stuff I want to cover, so just stick around with me. I want to talk about this rest in the playoffs, and then we can hand it over to you guys. Just stick around with me for a few seconds right now, guys. Let's talk about the Eastern Conference. Okay. The number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference right now are the Brooklyn Nets. They got a 43-21 record in the East. Do you know what that gets you in the Western Conference? It gets you the number 4 seed. That's what that gets you in the West with that type of record. The Sixers would be a number 5 seed. The Bucks are 39-24. Do you know what that gets you in the West? You will be like a number 5 or number 6 seed. Then it gets even worse. You got the Hawks, who are the number 5 spot. They got a 34-30 record. If you had that record, you would be in the play-in tournament right now in the Western Conference. Then you got the Boston Celtics. They will be in the play-in tournament. The Miami Heat, they will be in the play-in tournament. And the Charlotte Hornets, if they played in the Western Conference, they would be the number 10 seed in the West. The number 10 seed is the Charlotte Hornets if you put them in the Western Conference. You can't compare the conferences. The West is loaded. So I just wanted to address that point. Let me see what else you guys got for me. I want you guys to stick around with me. I got about another 15 minutes of this thing to do. So just stick around with me. I got a lot of stuff I want to cover here. Let me make sure I get to some of your comments. Clippers are in cruise control. Okay, that's Louis' comment. Chris Paul to win his first ring this year. He possibly could. My bad, 2008, Miami. Okay, go ahead. Toronto. The LA teams are still the best when fully healthy. I agree with you on that. Clippers better not blow it again. I agree with you on that. Okay, so let me talk about this thing about rest. Let me give you guys some key points here. Make sure you guys hit the likes for the new people coming in. Let me give you guys some key information here before we close off here. Okay. Let me give you guys this information. The Clippers have 8 days left in the season. Okay. I personally think that the Clippers should play every single available game if possible. Patrick Beverley has missed already 60% of the season. Serge Ibaka has missed about 50% of the season. Kawhi Leonard has missed about 20% of the season. Okay, 25% of the season. These dudes have missed enough games. So it's not like as if they're banged up and these guys are rested. That's number one. Number two, you want to make sure going into the playoffs, you know what your rotations are going to be. You need to know what your playoff rotations, you need to know what different lineups provide. Listen to Tyronn Lue at the end of certain games. He's out there experimenting with some stuff. You see him bring out Patrick Patterson. He's trying to see what different lineups present on the floor. Look at the game against the Suns. They at one point, they took out Ivica Zubac and they brought in this dude just to see something, and they got something. They brought in Rondo. So they still don't even know what all of their lineups do. Now, some people may say, well, but they need to rest. Let me explain something to you guys. The regular season, let me just give you guys this information. The regular season ends on May 16. The last game the Clippers are going to play this season, is on May 16. Do y'all know when the playoffs start? It starts on May 22nd, which means the Clippers are going to have 5 days of consecutive rest. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're going to have 5 days off in a row. So this is not a question about they're going to have rest. They're going to have rest because after that, the play-in tournament begins. The play-in tournament, if I give you guys the key dates right now, you can find this information on NBA.com. The playoffs begin. The play-in tournament begins on May 18 to May 21. So if the Clippers and teams that are not in that play-in tournament, they're not playing. This is another reason why you don't want to end up in the play-in tournament, because you're going to have to play more games, which is going to have you play more games closer to the playoffs. Mixer Max, Cape, yeah, Marcus, Bold Kid, and welcome in. Have you closer to the playoffs. So you don't want to be a part of it. So if the Lakers avoid the play-in, they're going to have 5 days off. So this thing about they need rest, they're going to have rest. The playoffs begin on May 22nd, and it ends in July. I think the playoffs finish on July 22nd. So the Clippers are going to have rest. This thing of, oh, we want to make sure everybody's rested. They're already going to be rested. Another thing is this. You don't want to go into the playoffs with too much rest, with having too many games off, because why? You guys notice teams that finish off series too early, they have a risk of coming out being rusty. But teams that are always kind of playing, they always kind of stay in a rhythm. Eddie from France, welcome in. They always stay in a rhythm. So you want to make sure they have a right balance. If the Clippers want, fine. They can rest their players for the last 2 games. No problem. If that's what they want to give them a full week of rest, no problem. But you need to get Kawhi Leonard back on the court, because Kawhi Leonard needs to get some games under his belt with this roster. Serge Ibaka needs to get back on the court. Serge needs at least 4 or 5 games. He needs at least 4 or 5. The dude has been out for almost, I think, close to 2 months now. And you know when he comes back, he's going to be on minute restrictions. Is it that when the playoffs start, that's when you're going to be ramping your minutes up? That's not going to work. You see KD, they're bringing him off the bench. When the playoffs start, I think Kevin Durant is going to start. This is just my opinion. So I definitely think that the Clippers need to get rest, which is important, but they also need to play some of these games. Let me go through some of your comments. We got about 10 more minutes here. Let me just try to answer as many of your comments here. Let me see what you guys got. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them now so I can answer them. Let me see what else. Cousin said in the interview that the playbook is thick like a dictionary. Yeah, that's to be expected. Suns fans acting like CP3 has some ring. Yeah. Okay, let me see what else you guys got for me. Saying, okay, let me see. PG is averaging like 30 versus the Suns. Yes, he is. PG's been playing well. But when your best player doesn't play in the game, it's going to make a difference. Look at the Lakers. Now, they lost last night, but they looked a lot better with LeBron than without him, in just my opinion. Like, your best player, him playing matters. Like, people try to make it seem like, oh, it means nothing. It means a lot. Like, it means a lot. If the Clippers go into the playoffs without Kawhi Leonard, they're not beating the Suns. So if they're not going to beat the Suns in the playoffs, why were you surprised that they lost to them in that game? And secondly, why were Suns fans beating their chest like as if they did something amazing? You know how embarrassing it would have been if you lost to the Clippers without their best player on the floor and you got your best players playing? That would have been an embarrassment. So the Suns needed that win. What's up with Kawhi? Really injured or low? I have no idea what Kawhi Leonard is doing. Beverly is still injured. Yes, he is. The Clippers, Poison is the Mavericks, and Denver. Everybody else they can handle. Okay. Adrian, I think the Clippers are holding on a lot. Paul George is not even trying to defend. Possibly so. Your boy Greg said Pat Bev returns to practice and Serge is working out. Okay, maybe Greg, maybe you know something that I don't know because I didn't hear anything on Patrick Beverly. Maybe you're aware of something that I'm not aware of. So maybe you know something that I don't know. Maybe you can share that information here with us. But Chris Paul carries every team he's on. Absolutely, yes, he does carry every. Chris Paul is a difference maker. That's why you see Charles Barkley on there fighting for him to say he should be in the consideration for MVP. I agree with that. So you're not going to get any disagreement from me. These LA teams are still the best. Yeah, I agree with that. The LA teams are still pretty. They're still. I think the Clippers are holding on. Okay, let me see what else you guys got for me. Giannis is overrated to me, and he can't lead a team to a championship. Well, Professor Johnny, well, that's surprising because I know you're a big Giannis fan, so it's surprising to hear you say that. Let me see what else you got. I agree. Kawhi is probably low. Okay, let me see. If the Clippers will play versus the Lakers in the first round, who do you think will win? I'm picking the Clippers in the first round if they meet the Lakers. Again, if the Clippers meet the Lakers in the first round, I think they'll probably get them in 5 or 6 games. Some people are going to not going to like what I have to say. I personally don't think the Clippers are a good matchup for the Lakers. That's one thing. I think it was Louis that pointed it out in one of his comments. The Clippers actually got better since last year. The Lakers, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that this Lakers team is better than that Lakers team last year. Number one, it can't be because that Lakers team was younger. LeBron was 1 year younger, so there's no way he can get, like, he's going to be a little bit better because he's 1 year younger. That's number one. Number two, the Lakers had much better rim protectors and defensive players, much better defensive players than JaVale McGee and what's his name, and Dwight Howard. That's number two. So the Lakers were built pretty well last season. Also, remember the Lakers had Rajon Rondo. A lot of people are here talking about Paul George is going to have to answer whether or not he's going to play up big. This is another question they're going to have to ask Dennis Schroeder. Is Dennis Schroeder going to be able to fill the void of Rajon Rondo? This is another thing we got to pay attention to. That Lakers team had a lot of experienced veterans that had been there before. Now, to be fair to them, Marc Gasol is a champion. I think Dennis Schroeder has been to the playoffs. But that Lakers team was full of championship experience. Dwight Howard had been to the finals. Rajon Rondo had been to the finals. He already had a ring. Danny Green was just fresh off of a championship with the Toronto Raptors, and he's already won rings with the Raptors and the Spurs. Then you got LeBron James. On that Lakers team, they had a lot of finals and playoff experience. You can't say the same with this team. Now, I know Wesley Matthews used to play with the what's the team? With the Utah Jazz. They had some runs against the Lakers. I remember that when Kobe was playing. You got LeBron, of course. AD had never, I think, gotten out of the first round since before he met LeBron James. So you got AD there. And then who are the other players? And he got Marc Gasol, right? And then maybe there's some other players that I'm missing. And then, of course, you got Kyle Kuzma, who made his return to the playoffs, made his first finals appearance. So for me, who said this? Who said that? Jalen Guzman said Curry better than, you see? So I can't take people seriously. So, all right. So let me answer Jalen's comment here. Jalen said Curry is better than Kawhi. Okay. So if Stephen Curry is better than Kawhi Leonard, why didn't he prove it in the finals? Why didn't he prove it? He had an opportunity to play against Kawhi Leonard in the finals. Why didn't he give him the business? What happened? I didn't see it. Matter of fact, listen, I got a lot of respect for Stephen Curry, but we got to get realistic here. We got to get serious here. Stephen Curry is probably the greatest shooter of all time, but I think a lot of people got confused with being the best shooter and the best player. LeBron proved that to Stephen Curry a few years ago. Remember in 2016 when he won the MVP? I think he won the scoring title. He led the league in steals, and people were confusing him as being the best player over LeBron. Then they met in the finals, and LeBron showed him what was what. I've seen Stephen Curry in the finals disappear. You can't be better than Kawhi Leonard when you have 3 championships And you can't even say I have, of all of those 3 championships, I even have 1 finals. He wasn't the best player on his own team in the finals. And 2 out of those times, your team was favored. You couldn't even get 1 finals MVP, and you're gonna talk about Kawhi Leonard. Did you see Kawhi Leonard's numbers in the playoffs with the Toronto Raptors versus Curry? You can't even put them in the same classroom, these 2 dudes in the playoff. I'm sorry. Feel any kind of way you want to feel about it, but it's just the reality. Kawhi Leonard with that Raptors team that had never even been to a finals. Kyle Lowry had never even sniffed the finals. The only thing he was sniffing was the broom that was sweeping him out of the room every time LeBron James, they met the Cleveland Cavaliers. He comes on the team, all of a sudden, that team not only goes to the championship, but they win the whole thing. He leads the playoffs in points, rebounds, and steals. Go look at his numbers. He was averaging like 31 points per game, over 50% from the field, close to 40% from the 3, 9+ rebounds a game, led the playoffs in points, rebounds, and steals, had the 3rd most points in the history of the playoffs. And then I got to come look at some dude named Jalen Guzman telling me about Curry better than Kawhi. How? When did it happen? It's not bad. He's not better than him. I'm sorry. This is why some people thought that because the Lakers won a championship last year, some people out there thought, oh, maybe AD better than KD. Yeah, whatever. He ain't better than no KD. And you want to know the proof of it? Look at how KD has been performing since his return, and look at how AD's been. They're not even in the same universe. So I don't want to hear nothing about Stephen Curry is better than Kawhi. No, he's not. He's a better shooter, and that's it. He's not a better defender. He's very efficient, but he can't get his own shot the way Stephen Curry has to be elusive. Kawhi Leonard can stand right in front of you and pull up and shoot. Boom, period. He's a devastating player. He's a devastating back to the basket player. If y'all think that Stephen Curry and the Warriors would have met Giannis Antetokounmpo when he just won his regular season MVP, met them in the playoffs, if you think they were going to they said, Curry, go stick Giannis, you bugging. Giannis would have wrapped him up like a sombrero and ate him for dinner. So please, I don't even want to hear nothing about. You see, here we go with he got robbed twice. How did he get robbed? Twice for final. Okay, who robbed him? He played in 3 finals. You said he got robbed twice. Okay, maybe they say Iguodala robbed him. Okay, who's the other guy that robbed him? Who here in their right mind felt like Stephen Curry should have won the finals MVP over Kevin Durant? Who thought that? Nobody thought. Go look at the numbers. Look at the team when they had Curry, when they had without him. He robbed himself because he disappeared. Like we got to stop with this. Dudes are talking about Stephen Curry is great, but come on, don't give me that. You ain't even got a finals MVP. Come on, get out of here. Man. Like, yo, go over there with that. Come on, like we got to stop with that. So let me see what else you guys got for me. Clippers are not winning the West. No problem. KD won it. What? Easy, fair, and square. Yes, yeah, it's not even a question. Like, what are we talking about? Did you watch the finals? Did you watch them? KD was the one dude on the floor that was the mismatch of the finals. Like, some people got on him for doing that, but he was the mismatch of that finals. I'm sorry. We're not going to rob KD. Come on, like, let's stop. Okay, let me see what Kawhi disrespect. The Kawhi disrespect the claw play of the. Yeah, I don't know what these guys. I don't know what these guys are saying. Let me see what else we got. Why don't people talk about Harden playoff failures? Yeah, I think Harden. The reason some people kind of overlook Harden is because they feel like he had to meet those Golden State Warriors teams. So they're like, he lost, but look at who he lost to. So I think that's why some people cut Harden the slack. Anyway, I think I've answered everybody's question. We've been on here for about an hour now. So, guys, if I didn't answer any of your questions, you have any more questions or comments you want to leave, make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel. Leave it on the channel. We'll definitely get it there. It's next to the $sign to join the channel. Also, if you want to be a part of the live chat tonight, we're going to be live chatting for what's the game? The game against the Denver Nuggets. If you guys want to live chat for that, okay, sign up to Dreamerspro Max. You're going to get 7 days of access. Marco is in here. He'll walk you through a step-by-step process on how to sign up to the live chat on Discord. It's very simple. We got a lot of people in there already. It's quite straightforward. And some people are already in the thing right now. Some people that are on there, they're not aware of it. So you're already in there. So just make sure you go ahead and check that out. If you guys want to live chat tonight, you can get 7 days of access, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your attention. I appreciate everything. Hope you guys have a great day. Have a great game. Have a great weekend. And stay safe out there, man. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe. Peace out. Peace out. Take it easy.